Mysore. I will be the MC for today's GATE training program. So we have two sessions today. First session by Professor Abhilash B L. He is currently working as assistant professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, having over 5 years of teaching and research experience. He obtained his bachelor's degree in civil engineering from JNNC Shivamogga and MTech from Jain University, and currently pursuing his PhD in KSVTU Belagavi. So he offers consultancy in sustainable buildings, and today we're going to deliver some of the shortcuts to solve the problems in the subject construction materials and management required for GATE examinations. So with this, I request to take over the session to Abhilash. Thank you.
Yes, good afternoon, one and all present here. I would like to thank all of the GATE aspirants for present here for the session 1 on the day 4. Yes, myself, Abhilash B L. Firstly, I would like to thank our beloved HOD, Dr. S.K. Prasad sir, for giving this opportunity for delivering a GATE online training. Right? Coming to the presentation. Yes, these are the keywords today I am concentrating on. Yes, that is the type of construction, planning, cost estimation. On the day 2, on the session 1, we have briefed you regarding the different materials of the construction materials, right? That is concrete, aggregates, cement, fine aggregate, coarse aggregate, structural steel, soil, how to prepare the bricks. These are some of the glimpses I have given in the session 1 on day 2. Right? Today, I am concentrating majorly on construction management, that is type of construction projects and the project planning and the network analysis, that is PERT, CPM, and the cost estimation of this particular construction management. Let us go one by one. That is, this is the subject-wise marks distribution as I showed you in the previous session itself regarding the marks distribution. That is, construction material and management carries around 2 to 3% of the overall marks in your GATE score. That is, on the 2014 till 2017, you can observe the gradual increase in the marks distribution for the materials and the management. Here there are two major topics, that is material and management. Hence the material part I have covered in the day 2 and the session 1. If you have any doubts regarding the materials, you can drop your queries in the chat box, or you can drop in my mail. I will be submitting the presentation in the Telegram group. Telegram group will be appeared in the particular chat box. Right? Coming to the types of construction and the classification. Right? Here, the buildings, we cannot tell that all the buildings perform in the same manner. Right? There will be a different aspects for the different types of construction. Similarly, there are different types of construction. For example, that is residential sector, institutional, commercial, hospital, industry. All these different types of construction will carry out different types of executing part, designing part, operating part, like this, right? Here, coming to the top phases of construction in different types of construction, these are the major benchmarks. That is, the major benchmark means the first thing is design. For each and every type of construction, you can observe these 4 major phases. That is, the first phase is design phase, next execute, next O&M, and the deconstruction methodology. Here, the design phase of the particular construction, any construction you consider, these are all the paperworks. That is planning, computer works or paperwork, that is the soft work of the particular construction sectors. That is design comes in planning part, BIM, that is building information modeling, right? These are the some of the different execution plans, approval plans. All these comes into the particular planning stage, that is designing stage. Here in the planning stage, you can observe huge amount of planning. That is, first thing is the executing drawing, right? Next thing is a mechanical, electrical, plumbing, which are used for your particular construction sector. Like this, there are different types of plans For example, if you consider the residential, you can use only the just execution plan, electrical plan, and the plumbing plan, where all these three plans will be different compared to that of each and every individual construction buildings. For example, if I take the metro lines, here the metro will consist of different types of platforms. For example, concourse level, platform level, intermediate level. Like this, there will be different types of level. The major type of level in the metros, that is mass rapid transit system, either in the bullet trains type of things or the metros or the railway station, all these structures are completely differ, where you can see the air handling units, different accessories will be provided, which will be not provided in the institution type or industry type or buildings type. Hence, in order to rectify all these things, how you will plan, how you will manage those things with respect to the different types of construction. Hence, the phases of construction is the founding first stone for this particular planning of your construction. That is the design, where I told the design consists of plan, BIM, that is building information modeling, that is all the office work considered will be in the first phases, that is the designing phase. Excuse. Next come is execution phase. How you will execute the particular buildings, right? There will be some laws, clauses, right? Rules and regulations will be there with respect to the top region specific. Coming to the top, by carrying over the particular execution plans, you will execute your buildings, where this will take around some amount of spans, right? There will be, for example, some structures may complete in just 20 days. For example, precast residence or precast construction will complete in around 1 month or 2 months. Like this, the execution will take place. Hence, in order to execute, you need a planning. What should be first? Next, what is the planning? Next, what is the actions you have to consider, right? All this comes into the particular design stage itself. Next is operation and maintenance phase of your building. This will be the lifespan of your complete building, that is 75 to 100 years will be your lifespan of a particular building. That is called as O and M, that is operation and maintenance phase, where some amount of planning will be neglected in these particular phases of your construction, right? Coming to the topic, that is planning and management, all these phases will include the estimation and costing phase of your particular building, right? The planning will be some amount will be allocated, execution huge amount of execution part, for example material procurement, right? Supervising, guiding, all this guidance will be in the particular execution phase till the completion of your building, that is finishing and painting of your particular building. Next is the operation and maintenance phase, where there will be a no physical planning in this particular thing, that is physical efforts will be not there in the operation and maintenance, where it comes just the maintenance part, right? Retrofitting and rehabilitation, where the huge amount of planning will be there in the design and execution stage itself. Coming to the deconstruction, similarly the deconstruction, right? I am not talking regarding the demolition. I am taking the synonym of the particular demolition as a deconstruction, because it is also one of the major aspects in the engineering sector, that is deconstruction, in which phase the deconstruction should be taken care, right? Whether you want to demolish a building of 20 to 30 floors height, right? Whether you will remove first floor at the first or 30th floor at a first, you have to plan it according to the hazards which are caused to your surroundings. This is how the deconstruction activity takes place, right? You can get some amount of fill up the blanks type of question in these phases. And coming to the top matches of following types, majorly in the construction materials and management phase, you will get majorly the match the following and fill up the blanks type of questions, right? Yes, as I was telling, these are some of the phases which moves according to the four phases. These are the major four phases. Coming to that design, you will identify which type of building you are going to construct, right? Whether you are going to construct a residential building at what amount of floors, right? That is first floor, G plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? There will be some restriction for that construction of these residential sectors, right? It will be restricted to G plus 4 floors, depends upon the region specific. That is how the design will takes place. In order to design and execute, how you will plan, what should be the first, like, right, what should you procure, whether you should procure the steel material, steel thing, or cement or aggregates, or you should procure all the materials at a time, and what amount of materials you should stock, right? All these things should be in your hand, right? That is how this particular construction management will take care, right? Other than the manual method of construction methodology, there is a software called as Primavera or MSP, Microsoft. Like, these are some of the different softwares which uses this construction project management thing, right? Next comes with the building design. As I told, building purpose, you have to understand what is the building purpose is should be. Coming to the design, later on procurement, that is building materials. Next, build, that is execution, building operation and maintenance, and building ends. Next, what next? After the deconstruction, whether that particular materials are reused or recycled or whatever it might be, right? Or it is taken into the landfills, that is excavated to the landfills like this. These all come into the particular planning stage itself, from the cradle till its death, that is till its gray of a particular material. These phases of construction takes place. Yes, let us go one by one. That is, as I told, these are some of the classification of construction based on the different building purpose. As I told you in the previous graphs, the previous slides, that is building purpose. These are some of the different building purpose you will going to construct in your particular society. Classification of constructions are residential, institutional, commercial, public buildings and industrial sectors, highways, heavy construction. Other sectors are there which I have not mentioned in this particular graph. These are some of the major things you are going to construct, such as highways, irrigation channels, dams, right? These are some of the different part where civil engineering aspect deals with this construction project management. Right. This is how the overall building system is divided into subcategory. The first thing is conventional column, beam, slab, frame system with a timber work and a plywood as a formwork. The first thing is, as you know, the general method of construction. Here I am not talking regarding the alternate method of construction technologies, whereas general method of construction technologies, that is first comes is in the structural building system, conventional method of construction. What do you mean by conventional method of construction? If you go to the conventional method of construction, you can observe the first thing is you will procure the site. Next, marking of the particular site with respect to that of execution planning. Later on, you will excavate the earth for the foundation purpose, right? After excavating that particular earth, what next? Whether you will lay directly the concreting part for the foundation, no, right? You will go step by step. The first thing is PCC, that is plain cement concrete bed, you will lay for the particular foundation. Later on, you will procure the steel, that is reinforcement, that is main reinforcement distribution that comes to the design part of your structural analysis, right? That you will add the particular foundation. Later on, what you will make, in order to make the container like structure for the concreting part, you will apply formwork, right? After the formwork, you will take place into the concreting part. Later on, you will come into the ground level part. Later on, plinth. Next, masonry, sill level, windows, doors, that is opening part, lintel level, cells or chajjas, lintels and chajjas, again masonry. Later on, roof, finishing of the roof with a surki material or any other permeability material. Coming to the next, parapet wall. Next is the finishing, painting, like this. These are the phases. You cannot come from the top down construction, right? There are two types of construction, bottom up construction and then top down construction. As the name itself indicates, the bottom up construction is constructing any infrastructure from the bottommost structure till your end of the particular structure at the topmost part. Whereas top down construction, the best example is the ancient architectures, Ajanta Ellora caves, temples which are built with the top down construction, where they will start with the top floor and they will remove the unwanted parts. Similarly, nowadays they are using such type of top down construction. Coming to the next, cast in situ system with steel or aluminium as a formwork, since the plywoods and timber and the wood material which are used for the formwork will be what consumables. It should be repurchased again and again. Since it is consumables yearly, it might get termite, rots, right? Like this, it might be decay or degrade. In order to avoid such type of activities, the next type of construction comes is aluminum or formwork. The best example is my one type of construction, where you can see there is no more masonry type of wall. There is a homogeneous construction of this type of cast in situ system with a steel or aluminum as a formwork, right? That is table form and tunnel form. It comes to the different forms of construction techniques. Whereas coming to the next prefab system, that is free fabricated system, that is, you know, the word called as in situ and ex situ site type of construction systems, right? Whereas in the ex situ site of types of construction sector, you can observe the panels or some of the components which you are going to procure for the construction thing are procured in the off-site techniques, right? For example, in order, best example is the metro construction, where you can see the metro viaducts and the columns and all other different components of that metro rollers. Either it might be roller stock or viaducts, where the roller stock moves on the particular viaducts, right? All these components are not manufactured in the particular site itself, right? They are procured from one of the outside the site of the construction site. Then they are placed in the particular manufacturing what construction site. That is how the prefab system works. Why I am telling all these things is, before going to the tough planning of thing, you have to understand whether you need the fast track construction or regular type of conventional method of construction. For example, if you take any traffic where is the traffic is more, in such places you need the fast track construction. Hence you need such type of ex-situ type of materials. That is panel system, same frame system. This is the overall system. It is called as block system for the free fabrication construction. And at the last is composite system. The combination of the three other building systems such as cast slab. As I told, the cast in situ, that is in site itself, they are casting such type of materials. The best example is jack arches, which are used with respect to the top alternative part of the conventional method of slabs, that is concrete slabs. These are the combination of, that is composite slabs, that is jack arches, beams, rafters, and the jack arch panels or slab type of panels are being obtained for these composite systems. Next is the major aspect in this part is estimation and costing. As you know, you have studied regarding the estimation and costing in your final year, right? You know the how to draw and how to estimate and how to give the costing for a particular building with respect to the center line method, wall to wall method, right? Like this, the estimation and costing is more important in any aspects, not only in the construction sector. In any aspect, this budgeting part is more important, right? The estimating is a technique of calculating or computing the various quantities and the expected expenditures to be incurred on a particular work or a project, right? Starting from the sketch till its completion of a project, what are the different expenditures you are going to take place in the particular construction? You have to mention in DPR or BOQ, right? Here DPR represents detailed project report, and coming to that of BOQ, it is bill of quantities. Whereas in the bill of quantities, you can see the n number of rows and columns, where it consists of a serial number, description, quantities, and per unit cost for a particular material, either for a per piece or for a per meter square or per meter cube, based on the type of material you're going to procure. For example, you're going to procure a steel, right? You will procure that particular steel in terms of tons, quintals, or kgs. For example, 52 rupees per kg for the particular steel, multiplied by how much amount of quantities of steel is required for the construction of overall building, right? Like that, you will calculate and you will give the another column with the overall cost. That will be one column, that is the overall cost. Next, per individual material. If you procure the sand, you have to always procure the sand in meter cubes. That is the volume of the particular material. That is called as meter cube. Like this, unit will differ with respect to different materials. If you go for brick, you will identify in individual bricks. Single brick costs around 7 to 10 rupees of a single brick. This is how you will identify the cost and estimation of your materials in particular bill of quantities. That is called as BOQ. Later on, detailed project report, you have to identify the detailed project report of a particular construction, that is starting from the sketch till the end of your particular building. Here, in case the funds available are less than the estimated cost, the work is done in a part or by reducing its specifications or altered, and the following requirement are necessary for the preparing of your estimation of a BVQ or DPR, anything it might be. The first thing is drawings, like plan elevation sections of the important points, right? You have to show which are the different important points, either in the surrounding to your site boundaries or inside the particular site. This is how you have to identify. Next comes is detailed specification about workmanship and properties of materials, etc. This is how you have to identify. Next comes is the standard schedule of rates of the particular current year, right? Here the steel will vary with respect to year by year, right? It is not a constant type. If you want to go for a huge type of construction, for example, industrial sectors, mass rapid transit systems, it will take around years together. It will take around 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? In term, you are calling a tender in a first year, that is still it is in a planning stage. Then only you will call for the tender for the procurement of the material. In the tender, you will bid for a material with the lowest bid material will get the particular contract. Like this, it will be the particular tendering. I will cover that part in the tendering and construction contract parts, right? Here, the particular rate of the material will vary with respect to that month, right? Not day by day or month by month. It will vary daily, or it varies on daily basis, right? In such cases, you have to give different types of planning for your construction, right? There is a separate sectors for consumables and one-time expenditures. Next, coming to that of need for estimation and costing. Why you require that? Estimate give an idea of the cost of the particular work, and hence its feasibility can be determined. That is, whether the project could be taken up with the funds available or not. If not, how you can manage with the lowest bidding of your particular construction activity, right? Next, estimate gives an idea of a time required for the completion of your particular work. Here, the work breakdown structure. I will tell you regarding the WBS, that is work breakdown structure, how it will goes with the network analysis of your particular project. That is work breakdown structure means, for example, one best example I will take is foundation. For example, for 60-40 site of your particular residential building, how much amount of columns you require. For example, let us take around generally it might require around 10 to 12, just general thing, 60-40 side, right? For the particular foundation to complete to the ground level, what is the time taken? Excavating, bed, placing of reinforcement, later on adding up of the columns, later on till the formwork completion, curing part, and coming to the of curing part. It might take around 28 days to 1 month. This is how the starting stage of the foundation itself takes place. Next, estimation is required to invite the tenders and quotations to arrange the contract. Next, coming to the next part, that is estimate is to also required to the control the expenditure during the execution work, and at the last, estimation is required to decide whether the proposed plan matches the funds that is available or not, right? This is how it is done in your paperwork. Yes. Next comes is the procedure of estimating or method of estimating. Here you can give the detailed estimate or brief estimate, right? Some of the government projects require detailed estimates, like different sectors. For example, coming to the small type of construction for the residential sectors or normal type of construction, you cannot have such type of detailed report, right? Preparing the detailed estimate, calculating the rate of each unit of a work, and preparing the abstract for the particular estimate. This is how it goes on with respect to the procedure of estimating part. Next, data required to prepare an estimate. What are the different data? Right? Some of the benchmark should be there. Some of the benchmark projects should be there for the calculation of such data. That is drawings, plan elevation section, whether it might be section in different manners where the huge amount of what components of the construction will take place. For example, underground sumps, right? Overhead tanks. These are the sections you have to take care in A sections, B sections, XX, YY direction. Like this, you have to take out the sections in order to get a accurate estimate for your particular building. Next is the specifications. Specifications means I hope you know that while purchasing any automobiles or bikes, you will see the specification, how many CCs, right? How many combustion CC the bike should be there, what is the torque it is applied for the particular automobiles. Similarly, the specification of the particular building, right? That is G plus 1, 2, 3, 4. How many floors of the buildings you require, right? Coming to the specific means what are the different materials you are going to add. Just you are going for the floor such as red oxide, or you need the luxury items like granites or marbles. Similarly, these are some of the specification which are required for the estimation of your detailed project report, that is DPR. Coming to the next, rates. As I told in the bill of quantities, you will get the rates of each and individual materials. That is unit per material per kg, right? Per unit. This is how you will get in the particular bill of quantities. Next is coming to the type of contractors, right? Before going to the contracts, I need to tell you regarding the tendering part, right? After the tendering is accepted, you will go to the contracting thing. Here, the tender is you have to give the proposal for the stakeholders who are going to call for the particular construction activities. That is, stakeholders are the one of the clients, right? You have to give the particular reports, means you have to give the proposal for, like, I will submit for this amount of time, I will submit like this, I will construct like this. You have to showcase yourself in the particular tendering report, that is called as proposal. Hence, I will give the definition, that is, tender is an offer in writing to execute some specified work or to supply some specified articles at a certain rates, right? Here the rates will differ. It is same like of bidding part, right? The rates will differ with respect to each other, right? Here, after calling, giving the proposal, there will be some rules and clauses from the stakeholders. Either it will be government sectors, or either it might be the private sectors, where the earnest money deposit, I hope you know regarding this EMD, that is earnest money deposit. For example, the particular building is coming for a 1 crore project. You have to keep the EMD amount of 15%, 10%, 5%, right? You have to keep around 15 lakhs, 10 lakhs, or 5 lakhs for a 1 crore project as a EMD, that is earnest money deposit, for a safer part of the particular both the stakeholders and a contractors, right? Here the amount of the earnest money depends upon the estimated cost of your particular work. Here it will vary from 50 for the works up to 2000, right? And 100 for works up to 2000. Similarly, and 10 1 lakh up to 1 crore. Like this, it will vary with respect to the earnest money deposit. Similarly, the security money, you have to always keep the security money of some percentage of your particular project for the stakeholders account, right? Like this, there will be some security amount. Next is like arranging of the contractor. All these depends upon your particular tender notice. Coming to the power of accepting the tender, who will be having the acceptance of your tenders? Here the power of accepting the tenders will be for CE, that is chief engineers, superintendent engineers, executive engineers, district engineers, and assistant engineers. These are some of the different sectors where the depositing of tenders or submitting of the tenders will be having the power authority. Next, how much amount? For example, can an assistant engineer take up to 5 crores, 50 crores, 500 crores project? No, right? Like this, there is some amount of cutoffs. For example, for civil, for chief engineers, there will be a complete authority, that is full power will be there for the acceptance of the any amount of finance. Next, same chief engineer and superintendent engineer will be having this full power. Next, coming to the executive engineering, 5 lakhs, up to 5 lakhs. There will be only having the up to 5 lakhs power. Coming to the district engineer, that will be around 50,000. Whereas at the last, assistant engineer will be having the approving up to 20,000 for particular project. Like this is how the tender notice will be procured. What are the components of that particular tender notice? There will be some description, right? Name, age, like this. There are some of the tender notice components, that is name of the authorities who are inviting the particular tender. Next, name of the work and its location. You have to mention particularly what type of construction it is going to be and where the location is coming to be part, right? Estimated, because why the location means, since you can check with a ground level, that is substructures, where you can spend huge amount of financial part in the substructure itself compared to that of superstructure in the places where it is near to the wetlands, like water bodies, right? You require the art strata, making the particular building art strata itself hard. That is how the location varies. Hence, the location is more important in such type of activities. Next, estimated cost. What is the estimated cost you are quoting for that particular project? Time of completion, duration. You have to give the duration, 6 months, a year, 2 year, 3 year, like that. You have to give the time of completion. Next, cost of complete set of tender forms and conditions. You have to give that particular thing. Next, date, time, and place of the tender, where you are going to call that particular tender, validity of the tender, what are the agreement of the tender. Like this, the tender will vary with respect to that of contracts. Here, coming to the type of contracts, you can watch it in the slides. That is coming to the types of contracts. Some of the common contracts are used in the engineering and construction industry are lump sum contract, unit price contract, cost plus contract, incentive contract, percentage of the construction fee contracts. Like this, there are n number of contracts which are subdivided into different sectors. Here, the main types of contracts are price based contract and cost based contracts. Here you can observe there are two types of contracts, that is price based and cost based. Whereas coming to the tough price based, as I told, since all the materials which are using for the construction sectors are the different consumables, will vary with respect to the time and date. Similarly, that is unit rate, that is lump sum, overall lump sum amount, that is wholesale amount. Next, coming to the cost based contracts, how the cost reimbursement will be taken place, that is like a material contract, labor contract. Like this, the target cost will vary with respect to that of financial sectors. Next, unit rate, measure and pay. How much amount of quantities they have added for the particular construction, measure it and pay. That's it, with a particular stock verification. Next, add measurements. These are some of the different measurements techniques which are used for this construction price based contracts. Next comes is in the cost reimbursement, cost plus fixed fee, cost plus fixed percentage fees. Next, cost fixed fees with a guaranteed maximum price, where there will be a profit and loss for both the stakeholders or the contractors. It depends upon the type of materials which you are going to add for that construction. Next, coming to the price base, just a glimpse of that. This involve lump sum and unit rate, measure and pay, and add measurement contracts. The contractor submit prices in this particular tender. Whether you will approve or not, you shouldn't bother about that. Just providing the proposal for that particular tendering. Next, cost-based contract types. Next, cost reimbursement and the target cost. First, you will spend, later on with the particular bills and suitable documents, you will get the reimbursement of the particular amount that at a fixed price of a dates. For example, best example I can tell you is whatever it might be, steel. I will make the construction of this particular building at a certain amount of cost, whatever it might be, whether the steel rate is increasing or decreasing. But in case If it is increased, I will make the particular project at the same cost of construction, whereas it is decreased, I will make the same cost of construction. But this is how the fixed price amount of the particular contracting works. Coming to the next, lump sum of the contract, they will get the complete details of the project, such as plan, elevation, section, architectural drawings, execution drawings, all the things. The engineer and the contractor agrees to do the described and specified project for a fixed price, that is for a fixed fee contract. As I told with the best example, that is fixed fee contract. It is suitable if the scope of the schedule of the projects are sufficiently defined to allow the consulting engineer to estimate the project cost. It depends whether it might be the loss or profit. It will depends upon the both stakeholders and a constructing agency, that is contractors. Next, unit price contract. It is estimated quantities of the items included in the project and their unit prices. The final price of the particular project is dependent on the quantities needed to the carry out the particular work. This is how it works. That is, whatever the cost, it varies. It should be bear by the owner. That is the client part, which can be also called as labor contract. It depends. The material should be procured from the client itself, and just the work has to be done. Next, the cost plus contract. A contract agreement wherein the purchasers agree to pay the cost of all labor and the material plus an amount for a contractor, overhead and profit, usually as a percentage of the labor and material cost. As I was talking regarding the labor contract and the material contract, here the material contract represents the overall in charge of the material, labor, supervisors, engineers, everything. It will be in the hands of the constructor developers. Whereas coming to that of only the labor, they will supply only the masonry parts, that is masons and the laborers and the supervisors, which are used for the construction techniques, where the material should be procured from the client itself. Coming to the next, cost plus fixed percentage contract, cost plus fixed fee contract. This comes only to the part of cost plus contract, where we can give the sentence. Some of the main definition can be given in the question. Later on, they can give the multiple choice question. You can identify the which type of contract it is, whether it is a unit price, cost plus, like that. Right? These are some of the different types of contracts. Yes, this is one of the question which is taken from the gate. That is, given that scope of the construction work is well defined with all its drawings, specification, quantities, and estimates, which one of the following type of contract would be most preferred? Right? All everything they have to give it to particular contract. That is EPC, percentage rate contract, item rate contract, lump sum contract. Here the answer is already given, that is lump sum contract. I will tell you how. The first thing is EPC contract, that is engineering, procurement, and the construction. It defines. You have to always give the definition for a particular MCQs, that is multiple choice question. As I told you in the materials, I have shown you that you have to analyze the picturization of the particular construction testing labs material, right? Instruments. Here, EPC contract represents engineering, procurement, and the construction part, that is EPC is a particular form of contracting arrangement used in some industry where the EPC contractors is made responsible for overall activities from the design stage, procurement, and the completion of the particular building to the commissioning and handover of the project to the end users of the owner. This is called as complete contract, engineering, procurement, and construction. Whereas starting from the construction, from the labors, from the materials, and the commissioning part of your overall building, that is documentation part of overall building, is identified with this particular engineering project construction agreement. Next, the percentage rate contract. Right here, the percentage rate contract in this form, the contract that department draws up to the schedule of its items according to the description of the item sanctioned in the estimate fixed quantities, units, rates, and amounts shown therein. Where department fix the rate of the particular item, it is known as item rate contract. Whereas whether it is less or high for the particular material, that the particular client department will fix the rate of contract. Next is the item rate contract. That is, it is the definition goes like this. It is one of which the contractor agrees to carry out the work as per the drawings, bill of quantities, which I told you regarding the BOQs, and the specification in consideration of the payment to be made entirely on the measurement taken as the work proceeds and at the unit prices tendered by a contractor in the particular bill, where the DPR matters a lot in such type of item rate contracts. At last, the lump sum contract, as you know, in the previous slide, we did study regarding the a lump sum contract, that is overall contract, that is the type is based on the single tendered price of whole work. That is overall work should be carried out in that particular type of contract. That is for the stage of foundation, the client should provide around lakh or 2 lakh. At the stage of lintel level, he has to provide around 5 to 6 lakhs, like this. At the last completion of the project, he has to provide this much amount of uh, finance. Like this, how the lump sum contract work. Next comes is, for a construction project, this is one of the problem. For a construction project, the mean and the standard deviation of the completion time are 200 days and 6.1 days respectively. Assume the normal distribution and use the value for standard normal deviate, that is z equals to 1.64 for 95% of a confidence level. That is 95% of the confidence level is, if I give the time for a construction, it will take around 365 days to complete that particular project. That is 95% confidence level. Somewhat I can finish the 365 days, at least I can extend up to 1 month, like that. The maximum time of the required days for the completion of the project would be, how you will calculate. This is the formula, that is z equals to ts minus te by sigma, whereas z gives the standard normal deviate, where z is already given, that is standard normal deviate is 1.64, whereas ts is the time required in a day, that is unit days for the completion of a particular project, that is ts. Coming to the te, that is mean deviation, where sigma is standard deviation. Here they have asked the time, that is the maximum time required in days for the completion of a particular project, that is tm. Time required in days for the completion of project, that is ts. You need to identify the ts, right? 1.64 is z, it is already given. You have to identify the ts, whereas the mean deviation and the standard deviation are as follows, that is te and the standard deviation is 6.1. You can easily calculate the ts, that is the value of ts is around 210 days, right? This is how the particular calculation of maximum time of required days for the completion of project should be calculated, where you can get the multiple choice either, or else you can get the fill up the blanks, that is the answer is 210 days. Next comes is material management, right? Other than this planning, contracts, tender, right? You have to manage the materials, right? Procuring the cement bags in a excess amount of manner and storing that particular cement in a exposed atmosphere, which leads to the degradation of either spoiling of the particular cement, right? Material management is one of the most important management in the construction sector. Whereas in this material management, you can observe the primary and a secondary type of management. The first thing is, primary is quality control, departmental efficiency, inventory planning control, purchasing, material requirement planning, MRP. These are the primary quality management, that is primary materials management, which are taken place in the particular construction sector. Whereas coming to the secondary type of management, that is code and classification of material, that is forecasting and planning, standardization and simplification, make and buy decision. Why I am telling this materials management is because in order to procure the material, whether at what time you have to procure, right? You have to check with the space constraint. Other than the space constraint, usage of that particular material and the quality of the material, right? These are the planning and controlling of all those things in the material management of your construction sectors. Coming to the inventory management, these are some of the types of management, that is inventory control, what to order, when to order, why to order, how much to order, right? Why, when, what, where, like this. You have to always identify these questions while procuring the materials or while constructing your particular infrastructures. That is what to order, when to order, so that cost associated with the buying and storing are optimal without interrupting the particular production and sales. The best example is still you are in the selection of the site and you are in the execution of your foundation work. Will you procure the paints and the flooring finishing, that is granites, marbles? No, right? You will procure that particular flooring finishing such as granites, marbles, paints, finishes, all the groutings, all these materials you will purchase at the end of your particular construction aspect. It deals with the two problems: when should an order be placed and how much should be ordered. For example, if you consider a small type of residential sector, easily you can identify at what day the plinth will come, at what day the flooring will come, at what day the roof will come. Similarly, if you go for a huge constructions, for example around different apartments, right, villas, mass rapid transit systems, industry, with huge amount of land with the acres together, you will go on construction. You cannot manage such type of activity. That is, when should an order be placed and how much should be ordered be placed. Similarly, you have to have some data sheets, right? Work breakdown structures, network analysis, Gantt charts. All this will provide you at what time, right? At what time this particular project will finish. Next, what should you do as a supervisor? What you should do? This is how the activity takes place. Coming to the importance, eliminate the possibility of duplicating ordering, right? Already you have purchased the steel, for some amount of extent you will forgot that you have purchased the material, again you will procure. That is how the duplicating of the order, not only the individual material, all other different types of materials I am talking about. Next, smooth and uninterrupted production, and hence no stock out, right? You have to procure the material in a such a way that they shouldn't be in a stock out or excess amount of stocks. Coming to the next, efficient utilization of working capital and help minimize the loss due to deterioration, obsolescence, and damage. This is how the material management quality will be there in your particular construction and material management, and in turn it reduces huge amount of embodied energy in the particular material procurement or material manufacturing process, transportation process, everything will be in turn reduced. This is what you call as sustainable construction management. Coming to the next functions, what are the different functions of the management, right? Here, the organizing, leading, controlling, and a planning, right? These are some of the different functions of your management of a construction activity which should take place in a smooth manner. Next comes the nature of management. Fine. Before going to the nature of mind, let's have some glimpse about functions. That is, as I told, the four phases of the construction, that is planning, designing, that is execution, operation and maintenance, and at the last is the deconstruction. Similarly, the functions of a management will take place in the planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. On what basis? You can control all these things in a manual method, either manually or in your some smart way, that is in automated way, right? Here are some of the nature of management. The first thing is measuring and analyzing the performance of anything. It might be either it might be labors, either it might be materials, either it might be components of the particular infrastructure. This is how we have to measure and analyze. Coming to the next, examining the future environment, right? For example, in a 3 days you will construct, you will be completed with the form work, and in the next day, in a fourth day, you are planning for a laying of complete roof of around 100 square meter area, right? You are not aware of the Indian meteorological department, right? There might be a weather condition like that, and the particular day it might rain. Similarly, the examining the particular future environment based on the different smart technologies, right? You can observe the weather conditions and later on you can plan according to the particular weathers. That is how the examining the future environment takes place. Next, developing the objectives. Why you need to construct that, in what manner you have to construct, why you have to construct, like that you have to take the objectives to understand the different types of management. Next, contribute to the business strategies. Loss or profit, it depends upon the complete management techniques, translating strategies into operational tactics. Next, developing action plans and the budget for the particular construction, implementing the plan, that is the execution stage. These are the some of the nature of overall management. Here, the main part is project management. Definition of the particular project management goes on like this. The project management is the discipline of initiating, planning, executing, and controlling. That is overall part. You are looking after that particular thing. And the closing and the work of a team to achieve the specific goals and meet the specific success criteria. It might be not only 100%, it should reach not only approximately 100%, it should reach exact 100% with these type of project management. Then only you can tell it as a successful project managers. You can check this. This is on a small diagram which you can see like a graph like structure, where the blue line is passing in these particular rectangular sections, where you can see the light blue, purple, orange, like these colors, where this represents the network diagrams, right? Gantt chart in the project management software, that is Primavera or MSP. Like this, there are different softwares where you can identify the work breakdown structures. For example, what's next, right? You can just observe masonry wall. Simultaneously, you can give some activities like finishing of the floors or any bathroom closets, water fixtures. Like this, you can make the activities along with this particular thing. Whereas you can see this particular rectangular section, after the completion of the second activity itself, you have to go for this particular activity. For example, after the construction of openings, masonry units, later on you have to go for the lintels and chachas, right? Similarly, these work should be planned, right? While doing with the masonry part, why you have to sit empty, right? In order to make the human resource efficiently work efficiently, you can go with the other techniques such as all these flooring part, finishing part in another activities. Next comes to the initiate. These are some of the flow chart. Initiate, form the team, write a character. Next, plan, communication plan, project plan. Coming to the execution part, that is the operation execution of a particular building. Complete the task, monitor the progress, and at the last, project closures. The closure of the project activities, capture lessons learned, and celebrate. These are how the project management will move on. Next is, in order to identify with respect to this project management, the major thing is critical path. What do you mean by critical path? Right? For example, from the start to finish of your project, there will be some different activities. As I told, there will be n number of activities which can be taken simultaneously and which can go after the completion of one activity itself. One activity will take place, right? You cannot construct the roof first without the constructing the masonry part. Like this, there are the activities, right? These are some of the different CP, that is the activity chart, which you are going to sketch down, where you will get around 2 to 3 questions on this particular type of part itself. That is critical path method, that is CPM, is basically a step-by-step project management and a technique that separates planning and scheduling. It also clarifies the interrelationship of our time and overall cost. There is some objective like early start time, early finish, late start, late finish. Like this, some of the activities are going to take place in this particular graphs. There are 6 key steps in the critical path method, right? You have to, while sketching that particular critical path, what are the different activities you are going to take place? The first step is specify each activity. For example, without having a second thought, you have to identify the different activities. So you have to specify the particular activities in the step 1. Next, establish dependencies, that is activity sequence. As I told, only the one activity completes itself, then only the second activity should take place. Like that, you have to jot down the particular activity in such a way that the establishes the dependencies, how much it is dependent on the different activities. Next comes is the step 3, that is draw the network diagram. The one which I showed you in the previous slide was the network diagram. Next comes to the step 4, they estimate the activity completion time from one activity to another activity. That is from the foundation to the plinth, that is one activity. How much time it consumes. That is how they estimate the activity completion time takes place. Next comes is a identify the critical path. That is the critical path gives the time consumed to start and the finish of the overall project. Next comes is step 6, that is update the critical path diagram to show the progress of the particular building. That is infrastructures. That is called as CPM, critical path method. There is some problems on that particular thing. I will show you regarding that critical path method. There are 6 steps in the critical path as I showed. Specify each activity, establish dependency, draw network diagram, estimate activity completion. Critical, you have to identify the overall critical path and the update the critical path diagram to show the particular progress. For example, project name, I will just consider a small example. Simple construction of a residential building. The first thing is checking with respect to that of design purpose of your building. That is purpose of the building. That is residential building. That is a project name. Next comes to the task, substructure, superstructure. You can take it as a substructure and a superstructure, right? Task 1, task 2. In order to go with the task 1, so these super substructures, foundation, plinth, PCC, reinforcement, concrete, formwork. These are some of the different activities. That is subtask 1.1 and subtask 1.2. Later on, simultaneously tasks 2, whichever it might be, the surrounding to your construction sectors, which are going the above the ground level, that task and subtask, whether it will reach the finishing stage at a individual point. Next, some of the steps you have to identify in this particular critical path method are the specify each activity. The first step is to identify the main deliverables of a particular project. Next, then you can start the breaking down of the particular activities, that is high level activities, into smaller chunks of a work. This is how we have to divide the each and every specific activity. Next, establish dependencies, that is activity sequence. Some activities will depend on the particular completion of others. As I told, without completion of your wall, that is openings of the doors, frames, everything, you cannot provide lintel, right? Without completing the masonry wall, you cannot provide the roof. This is how the activity sequence will depend. That is called as dependencies. It is depend upon one of the activities. Next comes is the listing the immediate predecessors of each activity will help to identify the correct order. Predecessors, you have to identify the predecessors and successor of the particular activity. I hope you know these words, that is predecessors and successors, right? Estimate activity completion time. Using the past experience or the knowledge of an experienced team member, estimate the time required to complete each activity, right? This will comes depend upon the complete experience, right? Without even knowing that, you cannot judge how much amount it will take to construct a thing or any different type, not only in the construction sector, in any activities like event management, any event managements, there should be some amount of experience required for this particular activities. Next, you think same. If you are managing a smaller project, you will most likely estimate time in days. If you are working in a complex project, you may have to measure times in weeks, not in a particular days, hours, or minutes. You have to always measure in larger time in a overall big project sectors. Next comes is identifying the critical path. You can eyeball your network diagram and identify the longest path throughout the networks in terms of longest duration in days. I am taking the simple example. It is discontinued. The task F is discontinued, but it should link with a dummy activity or any activities after the completion of task G. Don't bother about that. Here you have to identify critical path. For example, task A, it should go to particular task B. It will take, these are the times which I have mentioned. There is some problems on this particular thing. I will show you the particular problems. I will solve this problem. This is one of the problem I have taken from the gate. The activity details of project are given below. That is, the first thing is activity QRSTUV, right? Depends on, that is predecessors and accessors. It is empty. Next, P, that is predecessors, that is q is predecessor of p, like that. R q t, s r t p u q t v u, like this you have to. This will be your question. And completion duration from p to q, the activity from p to q, it will take around 6 days, 15 days, 12 days, 16 days, 10 days, 14 days, like this. Here you have to identify the estimate minimum time in days for the completion of the project. They have given the option 60, 49, 51, 35, right? Immediately after seeing such type of questions, you have to start noting down the diagrams in such a way that, right, you have to start sketching. Already I have solved this, right? Just a second. Fine. You can check with the questions, that is PQRST. Right, you can observe here the first activity P. You have to note down the activities 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to measure, right? The P activity takes place, that is in 6 days, that is from 1 to 2. The activity P goes on with the 6 days. The first thing, the one which is written in the blue ink colored pen, you have to note down that the 1 to 2 P takes place in 6 days. In the question, you can observe next part is Q. Q is depends on P. If the P completes itself, the Q can proceed. Hence, just remember the question. This is the question. Q P in 15 days, right? Q P in 15 days. That is 15 days. You have to note down in the bottommost part. Next is R. The value R, that is the activity R, is dependent on Q and T. Without completion of this activity Q and T, R cannot proceed, right? The value, that is the time duration of the Q and T, that is R is 12, right? Before going to that R, you have to note down, you can see the R, without completion of the Q and T, R cannot move on. That is how you can place the T and Q with a dummy activity. The dotted lines is termed as dummy activity. Don't bother about the red numericals. Just wash down the only blue part. Next comes is S R. It is directly related with the particular activity. Only if the R completes, you can go with the S, right? That will take S to R takes place around 16 days. You have to note down that S is 16 days. Similarly, next part is TP. Direct is TP. Next comes is Q, Q, T. Without completion of Q and T, you cannot complete that particular U activities, which is mentioned in the diagonal manner, that is 14. Next is U, V, U. Without completion of V, U cannot proceed. That is around 16 days, right? This is how you have to start mentioning the network diagram. Later on, you have to start with the particular early start time till the finish time. You can just start with the 0, that is the starting stage of this particular thing. You can mention this is a 0, 0 plus 6, that is it will take 6 days to start with this particular activity, the completion of this activity. This is the earliest time for the completion of particular P project. Next, just wait, right? 16 plus 15 in order to complete this Q, right? The Q activity should complete, right? Hence, in order to complete this, 15 plus 6, you will get the 21. Similarly, 16 plus 6, right? You have to identify. Don't write down the values immediately. You have to wait when the junction appears in such a way that where the two or more activity joins at a time. Here, 16 plus 6. You have to wait for this particular thing. Then only you have to start noting down, right? Next, coming to the 21 plus 12, you can get into 33. Just start solving this. You can just take with, you will get around 33. Similarly, solve for other thing, 21 plus 14, you will get around 35, right? The highest number, you have to note down the highest number. Similarly, you can observe, in order to complete the activity R, that is 33 days, and in order to complete the activity U, it is around 35 days. Similarly, wait, just wait and check with this 33 plus 16, right? You will get around 49. 36 plus 16, you will get the 49. Coming to the next, 35 plus, yes, somewhere I have made mistake in this drawing, 14. This is not 16, it will be 14. Yes, 35 plus 16, you will reach around 15, right? You can check with this activity where the S activity, that is from the 5 to 7, 33 plus 16, you will get around 49. Coming to the 35 plus 16, you will get 51. This early finish time of the activity will be, you have to take the more number, that is 51, you have to note down. Again, you have to come back with the reverse order at the bottommost portion. But in the question, you have to observe the question that estimate the minimum time in days for the completion of the project. That's it. You require the minimum time. This is how you have to calculate. Just you have to take the early finish time of this particular project. You know, no need to take the reverse order of this particular chart. That is how it gives the 51. This is one of the method you can solve. The next method, that is activity on arrow AOA diagram, you can start with the same methodology. This is the procedure 2, that is you can go with the 3 process, right? Here you can see, just I am mentioning here, right? You can check, this is the one path, right? Next, this will be the another path, just a second, right? This will be the another path, 1 2. Later on you can identify this, that is from 1 2 4 6 7. These are the 3 paths you can identify in this project, that is in identifying this network diagram. Fine, this is the second part, second methodology how to solve this activity on arrow, whereas time along the path 1 2 4 5 7, you have to identify that particular path, then you have to calculate 6. For example, 1 2 4 1 2 4 5 7, you can identify 6 15 plus 12 plus 16, you will get the 49 days, right? Next is time along the path 1, time along the path 1 2 3 4, again it is going down 6 and 7. This is the path they have considered in a zigzag manner. That is 6 plus 10 plus 14 plus 16. That gives the 46 days time for this particular project. Again, time along the path 1 2 4 6 7, 1 2 4 6 7. This is another path. I told you the 3 paths you can identify. You have to identify that number 6 plus 15 plus 14, again 16, right? You will get the critical path, that is 51 days. Here you can see 49 days, 46 days, 51 days, right? Here you have to consider the highest days of the particular thing in order to check with the early finish time of your project. Hence the value minimum time for the completion of the particular project will be 51 days. Hence the option 3, that is in this particular option 3 is 51 days is your answer. Similarly, Here, the another type of problem, that is the optimistic time and most likely time M and the pessimistic time P in days of the particular activity is given in the critical path for your format OMP. Here they have already mentioned for your easy method, they have mentioned that it is in OMP format, that is optimistic time TO and the most likely time TM and the pessimistic time TP, that is it is in OMP, that is 8, 10, 14 OMP, 6, 8, 11 OMP, 5, 7, 10 OMP, 7, 12, 18 OMP. I think you know that optimistic time and the pessimistic time with a full glass and a half glass example, right? The person who is optimistic can tell which type of glass, whether it is half full or half filled, like that, half full or half empty. That is how the optimistic and pessimistic works. The expected completion time in days of a particular project is, you have to calculate. Here it is given by TSF, that is the expected completion of complete throughout the day, that is T naught. As I mentioned, TO is optimistic time, next TM most likely time, and the pessimistic time TS. Here the most likely time is provided with the 4 times that of optimistic and pessimistic, since it should be in the neutral position, hence the 4 times is considered for this particular thing, divided by 6. This is the formula to calculate such type of problems in order to solve this such type of problems. Here that is the first procedure. That is, you have to identify with these activities E and F. In order to complete the activity from E to F, the optimistic time is 8 days and the pessimistic time is 14 days and most likely time is 10 days. This is how the activity will takes place, that you have to start jotting down in this particular formula. T naught optimistic 8 plus 4 times that of most likely time is 10, 4 multiplied by 10 plus TS gives the 14. That is T time taken to complete this EF. TEF is given by 62 by 6. Keep it like this. Next, FG, similarly 6, 8, 11. Optimistic, most likely, pessimistic. 4 times that of most likely is 4 multiplied by 8, 6, 4 times of 8, next 11 divided by 6. Similarly, you have to calculate it for GH activity and HI activity. Similarly, summation. Here, expected completion. You have to add all these activities from E to I, EF, FG, GH, HI. This gives your expected completion time, TEF plus TFG plus TGH plus THI. You will get on 37.833 days. Similarly, you might get up to decimal, 2 decimals you can write the answers. Depends upon the question. In the question only they will ask regarding this type of part. That is up to 2 decimals you have to jot down the answers. Right? This is how it is solved such type of questions. Next is, the construction project consists of 12 activities. The estimated duration in days required to complete each of the activities along with the corresponding network diagram is shown below. This is called a network diagram. It is shown here in the question itself. There is options 25 and 1, 1 and 1, 0 and 0, 81 and 0. Here, this is the activity A, B, C, D, E, F, G till L, and duration taken for this particular activity to complete. A to B, it is 7 days. B to C 30, C to D 30, D to E 30, 25, 7, 25, 7, like this. It goes on. You have to start noting down. Already they have given this network diagram. No need to worry about this. Since they have given the network diagram, you have to start dropping down the early finish time, early start time. Right? This, like this, you have to start sketching. Yes, this is a question. Start with the 0. In order, this will be the 0 days from activity A 1, right? Just here A, B, C, D is there, right? 1, 7, 30, 30. Just note down these values in this particular activity arrows. 1, 7, 30, 25, 7, 7. You just mention A equals to 1, B equals to 7, C equals to 30, right? Next, as go on with this particular flow. Here 0 plus 1. The first thing you have to mention 0 plus 1. The early start time of this particular activity 2 is 1. Same. B is 7. 7 plus 1, note down as 8. Same. Just stop here. Next 8. C is given as 30. 8 plus 30 is 38. Right? 38 plus 25 goes on with the 63. 63 plus 7, 70. 70 plus 7. 70 plus 7 gives us 77. Next 77 plus 3, 80. This will be your early start time of the particular project. Let's go on with the early finish time. Start with the back process. Again, wait here. You have to join with this particular activity, right? Without having the second thought, you have to stop at this place, that is in the J part. Same, go with this 3, 5, 7, 9, 8 plus 30, you will get the 38. Always you have to write in the topmost part. This will be here the early start time, that is 8 plus 30, 38. Next comes is 38 plus 25, you get is 63. Next 63 plus 7, 70. Here, till here, you shouldn't continue the problem. You stop the problem till here, right? Always you have to 70, 70. Since for the luck, you are having the both I and J activities at 7. 70 plus 7, 77. Here also from 9 to 10, 70 plus 7, 77. You will get both the numbers same here. Since you can start with the 77 number itself with the early start time. But if the value is more, for example, here I, in the place of I, you can get 8, 70 plus 8, 78, and here 70 plus 7, 77, you have to start with the 78, right? Without completing this I, you cannot go with the J, right? If comes J completes, I completes itself, you have to go with the K event, that is 78, 77. But here, for the luck sake, you are getting both the value as 7, 7. That is, you start with the 77 plus 3, you will get 80, right? Next 80 plus 1, 81. Again, come back, 80 minus 1, 80, 80 minus 3, 77. Next 77 minus 7, 70. Again, you go with this splitwise, 70 minus 7, 70, 70. Similarly, it should early finish time should be in the bottommost part, right? Next 70 minus 7, 63. Like this, go on the back end process. Next. Now, what is the solution, right? You have to check with the problem. Question is 5 to 7 and 11 to 12. Total floats in days for the activities 5 to 7 and 11 to 12. What are the different floats? You have to give the difference of this particular number 5 to 7. Here you can see 5 to 7 and 11 to 12. You have to show the value. What is the value? 25, 1, 1 and 1, 0 and 0, 81 and 0. You have to do some working here. Just a second. Fine. Yes. Here, early start time and early finish through to 38. You can see this is the 5 to 7 part. You have to consider the first activity, that is 38. 38 minus 38 is 0. Similarly, you have to consider this 11 to 12 both. 80 minus 80 both are 0, right? Hence, the answer you have noted down is the total floats is C. That is C 0, and 0 will be your solution for this particular problem. Right? 0 and 0. And the last problem goes on like this. The activity of on arrow network of the activities of the particular construction project is shown in the figure. The duration is expressed in days of the particular activities are mentioned below the arrows. The critical duration for this particular construction project is, you have to identify the CPM, that is critical duration, only the critical duration for this particular flowchart. Like this is a question. You start noting down the topmost early finish, early start time of the particular project 0 plus 2, you will get 2. Go with the flow, right? Here you can mention 2 plus 3, 5. Stop here. Again, go with another flow. 2 plus 4 is 6, right? 2 plus 3 is 5. Just wait. There is a dummy activity in the 3 process. Next is 5 plus 5. 5. This will be the single activity. Next 6 will be taken place directly with the 40 and 50 activity. You can just note down with the number 60, where the 50 is not related with this part, right? Where you can get this 5, 6 plus 3 and 5 plus 5. Don't write now itself. You have to calculate 6 plus 3, 9, 5 plus 5, 10. Always the two activity, if it is meeting at a single point, you have to wait and start searching with the which is the earliest start time of the particular project, that is 10. That is, this activity should complete. Next is 10 plus 3, 13, 5 plus 2, 7. Just hold on, you shouldn't write 13 suddenly. 10 plus 3 and 5 plus 2, whichever the highest number, you have to take care of this number. Next 13 to 15. That's it. You need to go for the back end process of this early finish time, right? This is a 15. The ask is the critical duration of this construction of a project. In 15 days, it will start and finish. Due to making confusion, they have given this 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, right? This is also activity name. It is a activity 10, activity 20, like 1, 2, 3, 4, P, Q, R, S, T, A, B, C, D. Like, don't bother about these values which is there in the activity circle. This is how you have to solve this problem. Fine. I will send this link, the complete PPT, to the Telegram group. If you have any queries, you can just drop me the email. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Abhilash sir. It was a very informative session. I request all the participants to join the today's uh, session 2 at 3:45 p.m. using the same YouTube channel link. Thank you. We're waiting for your presence in the second session. Thank you.